wow, photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rosetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
PPBN is a network, an online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
From those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important, as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.
Hello and welcome to the live judging of the 2026 Australian Photographic Prize. Thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world and whatever time zone that you're tuning in from. My name is Robin Campbell. I'm the founding director of the Australian Photographic Prize. I'd like to thank our competition director, Daniel Bingham, and our director of judging, Chris Anderson, for giving me the privilege of opening our first live judging session for 2026. This year marks the 5th anniversary of the Australian Photographic Prize and has been our biggest year yet. We received more than 2,500 entries from photographers across 25 countries, with approximately 750 images progressing to live judging over the next 3 weeks. To all of our entrants, thank you for trusting us with your work and for sharing your creativity, vision, and photographic skill with the world. I'd also like to acknowledge our valued sponsors. Thank you to Nikon, sponsor of the Australian Photographic Prize winner, ASO, sponsor of the runner-up award, and PPBN, sponsoring our international award winner. A special thanks also goes out to Mel Sinclair, Nathan Bingham, Kay Davis, and Tony Hewitt for your enormous behind-the-scenes contributions to making this event possible. And finally, thank you to everyone watching. We hope you enjoy this unique opportunity to see some of the finest photographic work from all over the world discussed, evaluated, and celebrated by our absolutely legendary judging panel. Without further ado, I'll hand you over to our Director of Judging, who is also tonight's panel mentor, Chris Anderson. Thanks, Chris.
Awesome. Thanks, Robin. Thanks for that intro. It's a pretty big deal having 5 years of Australian Photographic Prize. This being our 5th year, it's huge. So I hope you're all looking forward to 25 categories worth of incredible live judging. I know I am. We've been working towards this for so long. It feels like it's been a really long couple of months getting to where we are, and I can't wait to get started. So today we're here to judge the top 30 images in the wildlife category, which is traditionally one of our most popular categories. Now, just really briefly, wildlife are images authentically depicting wild animals in their natural or managed environments. So what we're going to do today, we have an expert panel of judges, and they're going to introduce themselves in a minute, and they're going to assess every single image. So they're going to score each image out of 100. We'll have a comment at least for each image, and in some cases we'll have a challenge where we'll discuss the image in more detail and then rescore it. And then when today's session is complete, we're going to move to closed door judging, where the panel is going to deliberate to determine the winner from our highest scoring images. Now, our second and third place Australian entries, along with the winning international entry, they're all going to be revealed at our live awards ceremony on August the 13th. So that's not too far away. And in a moment, we're going to introduce you to our judging panel for today. But first up, we're going to get Mel Sinclair to kick off the slideshow with the top 30 images in wildlife. So take it away, Mel. Oh my gosh, that's my first time seeing those. This is going to be such a good category. All right, judges. We're going to get you guys to introduce yourselves one by one. So Anne Papalardo, could you kick us off, please?
Love to, Chris. Hello, everyone. I'm Anne Papalardo. I am a Brisbane-based bird photographer. I am also a judge with the Photographic Society of Queensland, where I have a particular interest in judging the single capture images in nature. Now, as first cab off the rank, on behalf of my fellow judges, I just wanted to say a very big congratulations to all of the entrants who have scored a spot in the top 30 for wildlife. Well done to you. Take a beat, give yourself a pat on the back. Looking forward to seeing your images.
Oh, well said, Anne. Craig, you're up next.
Hey everyone, I'm Craig Turner-Bullock. I am based in Christchurch, New Zealand. And in my day job, I'm a pet photographer and I teach pet photography as well. But I am also a massive animal and wildlife photography lover. I used to actually be the head keeper at the bird gardens, and we had all sorts of animals there. So I'm really looking forward to judging your images today.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. Francis Suter.
Yes, Francis Suter from Brisbane, sunny Queensland, where I run a portrait studio where we photograph families, children, but also we always welcome for everyone to bring their pets, which we love. We get everything from dogs to cats to actually snakes to the studio. We love that. So we always encourage people to do so. If I'm not in the studio, I usually like to be outdoors, photographing landscape, but also chasing some wildlife there as well. Also, I do enjoy to do some walks in the city and photograph some abstracts. And yes, congratulations to the 30 finalists, and I'm really looking forward to have a close look at all your images today.
Awesome. Thanks, Francis. From the other side of the planet, Jess.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jess McGovern. I'm technically a pet and portrait specialist. I'm based, like Chris said, I'm in Southwest Scotland, so it's a little bit further afield. I'm excited to be back for another year here. I do judge with lots of these faces that you're about to see and have already seen for various different organisations in print and online. I teach pet photography similar to Craig as well, but I also enjoy training and animal behaviour with my own 4 horses, 3 cats, and less than 10 dogs, which I do think is an appropriate number.
Excellent, because you can't have too many. Joe Howell, you're next.
Hi all, I'm Jo. I am a photographer from Melbourne. I guess I'm here to photograph your wildlife images because I got my start with wildlife photography running photo tours across in Africa. Currently working for Zoos Victoria as a photographer and videographer there. Spent years photographing pets, and I really love judging images because it's fun to give you guys feedback and we get a sneaky peek and a say on what you guys have produced. And looking at that run through, there's so many amazing images. Can't wait to get to it.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. Matt.
Hello, everyone. I'm Matt Palmer. I run a landscape photography gallery with my wife, Mika Boynton. And before that, I was living in Tasmania and I was an ambassador for the Bonorong Wildlife Sanctuary. So helping support their breeding programs, not directly, but indirectly. And also sick and injured animals, rehabilitation, all that kind of thing.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. And last but not least, also hailing from overseas, Tracy.
Hi, yeah, I'm Tracy Lund, professional wildlife photographer from Yorkshire in the UK, just south of Jess, in a bit hotter environment today. But yeah, photograph wildlife for the last 25 years. I now run my own business, taking people around the world to photograph wildlife. Judge both in the UK and internationally against wildlife, so really excited about judging today's images.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. So this is a pretty cool panel that we have today with tons of experience, tons of animal experience, and I can't wait to let them loose on your images. Now that you've met everyone, judges, you all good? Good to go. Fantastic. We're going to start our panel. So kicking off our set of 5, we've got Craig, Francis, Jess, Joe, and Matt. You're all on the panel. Tracy and Anne, you get to have a short break before we get started. And without further ado, could we have the first image from the 2026 Australian Photographic Prize?
The title for this image is Nowhere to Be, and the context statement, Mountain Gorilla, Volcanoes National Park, Rwanda.
All right, and we have a score of 79, highly commended. So congratulations to the entrant for scoring a 79. And you know what? I'm going to go to, actually, looks like we're not going to stop just there. Francis Suter Francis, would you like to challenge this image?
Yes. Did you
say Fantastic.
It was on a 79? Yes.
Yep. Francis,
yes.
Take it away.
Yes, I put it in an 83 just simply because I think I've never seen a gorilla in such a relaxed pose. I think the story, the narrative about this was just absolutely amazing, and the way he's just so comfortable on this bed of greenery there, just relaxing. I just thought that was absolutely a stunning pose I haven't seen before. So I put it in the 83, and I think you just should have another look to see. We're nearly there anywhere in the silver range. You know, have another look at his expression. I think there's a lot of stories to tell about his day he had. So yes, and the environment he chose for his little nap there, for his relaxing pose, I think it's just perfect. It just works really, really well.
Awesome. Thanks, Francis. Craig, you were pretty squarely in the highly commended range.
Yeah, I was at 77 on this one, and I'm definitely willing to have another look and listen to what you guys have to say. I guess my main reason for not going higher was the composition. It's very much central. I think we could probably lose some of the bottom of the image where that very straight branch is coming in from that left-hand side, and just give a little bit more space above. I think that would make it a more pleasing composition, but I really like the expression in the moment. And I think when you look at it a little bit closer, it looks like the gorilla's like smelling a leaf or something, and just enjoying being in the forest. So yeah, I'm listening.
Excellent. Thanks, Craig. Joe, you had some feedback for this image, didn't you?
I was with Francis there at the 83, and for the reasons that Craig mentioned about the composition, that was what kept me from going higher. I think it's a beautifully relaxed portrait of this gorgeous young gorilla, and you're right, like he's lying there, or she's lying there, sniffing that the bit of greenery. There's sharpness all the way through where there needs to be sharp, like the depth of field is really well chosen, falls off just before you reach the gorilla and just after, and there's detail through the blacks in this animal, which is really hard to get. And I just think it's, you know, people tend to like really zooming in to focus on animals, and giving us a lot of the environment around really gives us a sense of space and where this animal lives. And that's why I had it as 83 as a silver. So yeah.
Excellent. Thanks, Joe. And Francis, back to you to wrap up.
Yes, look, I see all that, and I can see he's right in the center, which I found perfect spot, because it's all his there. The whole environment he's got himself to relax there. He is so relaxed there. There's no danger around. He can fully just take the whole place in, and also the little details on his foot there. There's tiny little bits of that green, and I can just see how he probably sort of moved around in this bed of his to find his most comfortable position to lie in. So I don't mind the sort of larger background, and I wouldn't actually crop it in for that reason. I think it's part of the story. It tells us where he is and what's his natural environment is, and where he's actually comfortable. All the colors, all the tones, the details in the fur are kept really, really beautiful. Technically, it's done very well. So yeah, I would just think it's definitely deserving to sit in that silver range. So have
Right.
another look, and maybe you can come up a few points.
Brilliant. Thanks, Francis. Francis, you're going to hold your score at 83, and everyone else, you can please rescore. And congratulations to our entrant. We have an 81 silver award. Excellent discussion panel. That's really great. All right. We're going to bring Tracy onto the panel, and Craig, you're going to get a little break. And Mel will have our next image, please.
The title of this image, The Last Refuge to Hide from Winter's Grasp, and the context statement, Blue Morph Arctic Fox Winter, Iceland.
Now, our judges, while they're judging, they can zoom in to look at the image at 100% on their monitor. They can't zoom any faster than that. And all of our judges are using professional grade monitors, so they can look at your images with the best possible quality. All right, and we have an 82, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. And Tracy's not satisfied with an 82. Tracy sitting on 87 up in the silver with distinction range. Take it away, Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, I love the simplicity of this image. Just the level of detail that's been captured. Your eye goes straight to the center point of focus, which is that blue morph Arctic fox. Yeah, I mean, this is where an image just streets, simplicity speaks for itself. You don't need a lot of anything else. I love the positioning. Yeah, I just really feel it's demonstrating a strong concept, and the photographer's been brave enough to be simple, creating a simple image that's really standing out and catching to the eye, which is why I put it up in the silver with distinction, scoring at 87. So I'd really like, you just have another look. It's just, yeah, simple but beautiful and striking in my eyes.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. Joe, you were sitting in the highly commended range.
Yeah, so I agree with what you said about it being beautiful and simple, and that it's a lovely concept. But that fox gets lost in all that white for me. I really want to be able to see more of this animal. And I find that, there's one twig that's unfortunately placed right underneath the chin of that fox as well. There's something that's coming up and almost looks like it's poking him in the eye. I know you can't move these animals around, but I just find those little distractions at sort of taking away from the simplicity and the beauty of it for me, but just too much white around it. I just feel like I want to see that fox bigger. That's why I've put it in highly commended.
Thanks, Joe. Matt, you were right on the average there.
Yeah, I agree with most of the comments so far. I would say perhaps to help explain the white space, I feel like this image is about that transition from a summer coat to a winter coat. And we're seeing why the summer coat was so perfect, because it so perfectly blends in with the shrub, basically the same color tones. And then to transition into white and then be fully camouflaged within that environment is a next step. So I feel like the image is kind of referring to that and the idea of camouflage in different spaces. I also saw the positives in it that Tracy mentioned. I was on 82. I'm not sure if I'm in the next range, but I'll listen.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Tracy, back to you.
Yeah, I mean, Matt explained that amazingly well. The blue morph Arctic foxes, are generally this color, but they do have the white coat as well. But yeah, it's just to show how camouflaged these can be in just that slight bit of landscape, and then having to deal with the whiteness. And I understand about the whiteness, but this is their environment. It's the snowy conditions of that time of year. And yeah, I've listened to all your judges, but I just think it's been beautifully handled. So yeah, welcome your scores.
All right. Thanks, Tracy. Tracy's on 87, and you're going to leave your score there. And everyone else, you can please rescore. Oh, and we're there, 85, silver with distinction. Well done. Good
Thanks,
challenge,
guys.
everyone, and good discussion. Nice work, Tracy. We're going to give Francis a little break, and we're going to bring Anne onto the panel for the first time. If I can push the button properly, which I've done now. Fabulous. Let's go to our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this image is When the Light Fades, and the context, Serengeti National Park, Tanzania, young lion cubs.
Excellent. Thanks, judges. We have an 82, but I don't think we're going to stay there very long. Anne, you're going for gold on 92.
Yeah, I'm more than happy to advocate for this image. The minute it turned around, what is really engaging for me is that middle stare of the middle cub. So we've got the perfect number of animals, 3, and the lower 2 are drifting off, looking off to the right-hand side of the image. And so for me, the image has been perfectly framed and perfectly cropped, sympathetic to the directional look of those 2 hubs on either side of the main one. The detail through all 3 of the animals is excellent. But again, for me, it is that engaging direct stare of the middle cub that has pushed me up into gold. I'm on 92, and I'd love to hear what anyone else has to say about this image.
All right, thanks. And Jess, you saw this a little bit differently on 78.
Yeah. So I popped this at 78, which shows it's highly competent, well executed work. And I don't disagree with you, Anne, for the points that you've made in terms of the eye contact, and so on and so forth. Where I'm finding it a little bit difficult is just given the standard of the competition, I'm looking at not just the subjects here, and that's where I caught signs of some bits and pieces happening in the sky. So there's a bit of color breakdown happening in the blue tones, more so on the left than the right. But if you have a look, the colors breaking up, and I believe it's potentially down to some saturation enhancement, which I think's also happened on the cub's eye, so in the iris of the eyes, and that's also flaring and breaking a little bit too. So it's almost just a little bit overworked in that aspect. I think had that been slightly more controlled a different way, I might be sitting in a different place, but I'm definitely listening.
All right, thanks, Jess. We might go to Tracy next. Actually, Tracy, you were really close to the average.
Yeah, I mean, I scored this image 81 in the silver category. Yeah, I'm listening to what everybody's been saying. I understand it, that's the initial striking image of the 3 lions staring towards camera. Again, just as already mentioned, my eyes keep getting drawn to the top left-hand screen across to the right because of those just slight, yeah, I can't really explain what they are, just shapes and patterns in the sky. I do find overall the lions themselves, the fur is a little over sharpened. It's starting to get a little crispy. And also the eyes, the main sharpness within the eyes is on the right hand lion. The other 2 are just slightly overworked and tried to be brought into sharpness. But I love the colorings and the composition and everything, but I am listening.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. And we're going to come back to you to finish up the discussion.
Yeah, thanks, judges. Great feedback there. For me, I can identify what you have, both of your insights, which are actually, I can see them now. For me, I think this image is one of those ones where, whilst I can appreciate your feedback, as an image as a whole and for the impact that it has provided, like I said, it's unusual or difficult to achieve that level of engagement, animal engagement with wild animals. I think the photographer could be very much rewarded for being able to capture such engagement from these wild animals. So with that in mind, see what you can do.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. And you're going to lock your score at 92, and everybody else can rescore now, please. And we have the score stays at 82. So excellent discussion. And I know the photographer is going to be so keen to have heard all of that. So thanks, everyone. Jess, we're going to give you a little break. And Craig, welcome back to the panel. And Mel, let's have our next image, please.
The context statement reads, yellow-footed Antichinus, Mount Adara, New South Wales.
And while our judges are looking at this image, we've had a couple of challenges. If any judge puts a score in that puts them in the next scoring range versus the the result that the image scored, then they can challenge. So, and we've had quite a few images with challenges so far. Maybe that's how our category is going to go. All right, and we have an 80, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. Tracy, you were, oh, actually, Craig, sorry. Craig is pretty keen to throw his 2 cents in here. So off you go, Craig.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I like the patterning in the background that gives the foreground some context, and I think that's really nicely done. The color harmony is really lovely. I think on a close inspection of the animal, there is just a little bit of maybe of motion blur in there. It's just not quite as sharp as it could be. If that was addressed, I would have definitely gone a bit higher with this one.
All right, thanks, Craig. Francis, we're going to bring you back to the panel. And Joe, you can have a little break. And we'll go to our next image, please, Mel.
The title is Shake It Off, and the context, Bennett's Wallaby, Cradle Mountain, Tasmania.
All right, and we have an 86, a silver with distinction. So congratulations to the entrant. That's excellent. Matt, I might come to you for a comment on this one, please.
Sure. I think what works really successful is the kind of comedic value of it and the cuteness of it, or is also explaining adaptations of the wallaby to this kind of environment, and that it's having its winter coat to work away all of the snow from its body as well. The expression of the animal's beautiful. The way that it's got one ear flopped over and the one up alert is gorgeous, and I think it's highly successful. I think there's not too much I would probably change about it, to be honest.
All right, excellent. Thank you, Matt. And we're just for that comment, you can take a little break. And we're going to bring Jess back onto the panel, and Mel will have our next image, please.
Yeah, this image title is The Shape of Sibling Rivalry, and the context, blue morph Arctic foxes, Iceland in winter.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we've got a score of 90, a gold award, which is excellent. We have 3 judges who are already in the 90s. And you know what? I'm going to call a panel mentors challenge just because we have so many people that are already sitting up here. So you're all going to get the chance to speak if you would like. And we're going to kick off with Craig, please. There's no right of reply. You just get one shot each.
So I think this has immediate impact. I think it's a fantastic image of these animals behaving naturally in their natural environment. I love that mirroring of the mouth shape and the eyes just going at each other. And then the motion in the body with I think the negative space in that top left where that fox on the right is turning to come back in on itself, I think is really nicely done. So yeah, I'm glad to see this in gold, and I scored it 92, and it would be awesome to get it a few more points.
Thanks, Craig. Francis, can we get a comment from you, please?
Yes, I was an 88, and as soon as I pressed, I thought I should have gone higher, and I will actually. I was just a little bit worried about the softness in the in the fellows on the left-hand side in the fur. But looking at the whole image again, really, that has got no importance whatsoever. So the expression in the faces, the joyfulness, the playfulness of the whole scene is just absolutely gorgeous. So yes, I will be coming up.
Excellent. Thanks, Francis. Jess, you were in the silver range with this one.
Yeah, very different score boundary. I'm going to need some assistance from you all, so help me out. I don't disagree in terms of the impact. Initial impact, really strong. Expression's great. Love it. However, compositionally, I'm finding this difficult. There's very little space underneath. There's loads of space above. And the snow on the right and underneath that paw is so bright, I'm looking there instead. When I go in and look in higher detail, I've got areas of sort of very, 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 very crispy coat mixed with areas of no texture whatsoever. So I'm struggling on the technical side, which is holding me out of my silver with distinction range, where we've got advanced technique and post-production. So just help me with this. I'm definitely willing to move.
Excellent. Thanks, Jess. Anne, you were up in gold.
Yeah, thanks, Jess, and thanks, guys. Appreciate all of your input. I can see the bright element on the snow on the right-hand side, Jess, absolutely. For me, perhaps a little burning down there would have... Actually, no, I disagree. I don't know that there's too much that could have been done about that bright spot down there on the right-hand side and kept within the rules of wildlife. For me, I think it is just one of those things that I can actually live with in terms of setting it lower on the scale of what I'm going to value and not value. For me, it's that sharpness through those, the snouts, and as Craig pointed out, the mirroring of of their expressions, which has got me into gold.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. Tracy, you can wrap us up.
Thank you. Thank you, judges, for your comments. Compositionally, I think this has been handled extremely well. I love the space above, which is showing the environment that these foxes are actually living in. Photographing these subjects myself, this is behaviour that's very rarely seen. So I commend the photographer for capturing these moments and the level of detail across both the foxes' faces. The fur underneath is obviously damp, so that's where you're possibly getting that smoothness within the fur itself. The brightness of the snow, for me, there's detail throughout the entirety of the bottom of the snow. The highlights and everything has been handled perfectly well. I'm actually think I'm talking myself up, so I'm thinking thanks, Chris, for challenging this, because I just think it's a beautiful moment captured, the detail, the lighting. It is just a beautiful image and well deserved to be in this higher category.
All right, thanks, Tracy, and thanks, everyone. Now on a Panel Mentors Challenge, there's no right of reply, but all judges can rescore, and all judges, please rescore now. And we've moved up a couple of points to a solid gold 93. Fantastic. And congratulations to the entrant. Anytime you get a gold it's a day to write home, and 93 is pretty spectacular. We're going to bring Joe back onto the panel and give Tracy a little break. And Mel, if we could have our next image, please.
The title of this image is Noolbenga, and the context is Honey Possum, Chains Beach, Western Australia.
All right, and we have an 83, a silver award. And we got someone sitting out there on 88, Mr. Turner Bullock. Would you like to challenge this?
Yeah, I would. So yeah, I'm at 88. I just really love this kind of trio of characters. I think these flowers are fascinating, and I think that they really give an insight to this little guy's environment and where they live, and perhaps even how they eat and things. And then I think the sky behind, you know, this is a beautiful time of day to be shooting, and that just adds a little bit more atmosphere to this. So I'm up at distinction level. I would love you to join me.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. Jess, let's go to you next, please.
I scored this image in the silver category, so I'm just one set below. I need to find words that are better than what I've got swimming around in my brain at the moment, which was a jumble. The flower on the right-hand side, I feel is almost just like an addition that maybe doesn't need to be there. I feel like a tighter crop on those super sharp eyeballs on the little creature is actually potentially going to be a stronger one. I'm thinking something like vertical would drive this moment home even more and really focuses there, because I'm constantly pulling to the right. That being said, I want to know this creature. I want to be its friend.
Excellent. Thanks, Jess. There's a Disney movie here. Joe Howell, can I get some feedback from you, please?
Yeah, I scored this 82 right in the middle of the silver range, and I would have loved to have gone higher on this one and been up there with you, Craig, but I'm having some issues with the masking. There's some masking, the sky's been darkened and it's not consistent throughout. Like some of the little gaps between the flowers are much brighter. There's sort of the biggest gap in the leaves near the top of the flower on the right hand side. There's some issues with the masking there. That being said, though, the colours are beautiful. There's so much character in it, and I quite like that there's the three, because it's that weight. It's almost like the whole image is about to tip over because of the weight of this tiny little possum. So I do like it. I think it's a strong silver, but I'm struggling with some of the technical aspects.
All right, thanks, Joe. Craig, back to you.
I just think that some of those technicals, I guess I'm forgiving them a little, because, you know, this is not the easiest of environments to shoot in. I don't see any major masking issues in terms of color differences. I can see a little bit of the fringing that I guess you're talking about there, Joe. And the right-hand flower for me, Jess, is a key part of this. I think that actually provides context about this type of plant and how it grows, and maybe even how this little critter is going to jump between flower to flower and feed. So for me, that's a really important piece of context for this environmental portrait. So yeah, I would love to see this at Silver Distinction.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. Thanks, everyone. Craig, you're going to leave your score at 88. Other judges, please rescore now. Your name is George. You can rescore. Our Georges have rescored. Have moved up 1 point from 83 to 84. Good, solid silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. Matt, we're going to bring you back on, and you get to have a little break. We'll go to our next image, please, Mel.
The title is Always Smiling, and our context statement, barking or thick-tailed gecko, underwater Saurus milli, Bendigo Regional Park.
Mel, our scribe, has the most difficult job of anyone here, getting to pronounce all of these species names. Good work, Mel. All right, we have an 80, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. Now, I would love to hear a comment from. I might go to you, Joe. Actually, have you got a comment for the entrant?
I was just about to press the comment button if you needed a hand there. Congratulations on your silver there. This gecko is adorable. They're tiny. I mean, you've done a really good job of finding one of these. Did you say this was in Victoria? Okay. So one of the things that I think could have helped lift this a little more is the back foot on the left-hand side, you can see the brightness of that foot, and it's quite distracting. It draws you away from that eye. So darkening that in a little bit would have been helpful. But that smile and the detail on the foot is wonderful, and congratulations, really well done.
Excellent. Thanks, Joe. Craig, you can have a little break. Tracy will bring you back on. And Mel, next image, please.
Okay, our title is Tended, and these are Japanese max or snow monkeys, the Jigo Kundani Monkey Park, Japan.
Did I mention Mel has the hardest job? Good work, Mel. All right, and we have an initial score of 82. And Jess, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say you probably want to have a challenge for this one.
I do. I really do.
Take it away.
I scored this image 91, so I'm in gold. This hit me so deep in the feels that I think we do need to talk about it, and I really hope that you'll all come on the journey as well. That expression from let me get the, what is it, a macaque. This is, species aren't my strength, but expressions and behavior are, and this is a beautiful, beautiful moment that I think has been captured so well. The tonal range in this is so well handled. It's not shouting, it's just there. It's calm, it's serene, and it's drawing us in. The pops of the pink set against the beautiful, calm blue. This is giving us feeling and emotion. This is high impact, but in a soft way. I think I really want to hear from everybody to see what's stopping you, because for me, this is a gold image through and through.
So thanks, Jess. Joe, you were on the other end of the scale, down in the highly commended range. Oh, you're on mute, Joe. That's one. You know it's going to happen 3 times.
I
Us.
had
That's
to
the
do it at
first one.
least once, didn't I? Yeah, the color tone in this is beautiful. The expression on the older macaque is lovely. What held me back, the horizon line with water, it's just a dead giveaway. It's on an angle sloping down to the right, which is just a bit off-putting, makes it feel unbalanced. And the macaque who's doing the grooming, it takes up such an important and large space in the frame. And also, you can see its eye, but it's out of focus. Like, just a little bit extra depth of field in this image would have given us so much more for our eye to travel through and around. And also, we've got that, I'm assuming it's another macaque, that sort of magenta blob up in the top, having a slightly larger depth of field to allow us to identify that there are more macaques in the scene. Would have just added an extra element to this image. So I have got it in highly commended. I think it's a beautiful image, but I'm listening.
All right, thanks, Joe. Matt, you were in the silver range.
Yeah, I put it into the silver range. There's a couple of things I'd probably address. Technically, the rock or whatever that is on the top left is a little heavy. And if that weren't there by choice of a different angle or something, it would really lean more into the serene feeling of the rest of the image. In terms of going higher in score, so silver and distinction and gold, they both say like some level of originality or emotional resonance. And I appreciate that there is some emotion in the image. However, this is a very well-known photography location for this specific kind of photograph. And this specific behavior is repeatable within that environment. So I rewarded it with a silver because I think this is a really exceptional version of a photograph that is quite popular to take.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. Francis, did you have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, just briefly, I agree with everything that has been said, and the moment captured is beautiful, but it is a very it is in an environment, as Matt said, where it's very controllable from where you take the shot. For me personally, I put in the silver range, but struggle to go higher because of the reflection in the foreground that's just cropped off. So rather than having perhaps, just a slightly different angle where you get more reflection in the water and less of the more busy background would have probably brought it to the next level.
All right, thanks, Francis. Jess, we're going to come back to you to wrap us up.
I just think that this is a really good example of why panel judging with experts is so important. Like, genuinely, this should be just cropped and shared because it's perfect. So thanks so much, everybody, for educating on the points that have been noted. I really do appreciate that. That being said, I still don't think it takes away from the beautiful moment that is captured here. I feel like the intentionality for the super shallow depth of field is one that the author took themselves. The older macaque is the center of the image. We don't need to look at anything else. Slightly softer, younger one who's doing the job isn't the main subject in the image, is not where we're supposed to look, and we don't look there first. We look at the older macaque because of that extra level of sharpness. And then the ones in the background, I felt like that actually helped me with context for the location. So these guys aren't just alone, there are others around, and that made the calmness in the water even more important for me. So I do feel like I could take positives from your constructive elements that you'd identified. I don't discount it, but I really appreciate the education.
Excellent. Thank you, Jess. We're on 82 silver at the moment. Jess, you're going to hold your score, and everyone else, if you could please rescore now. And we've moved up a point, 83 silver. We have, congratulations to the entrant. We have a bit of a saying, every point counts. It really does. When you get people who are potentially coming in for really high scores, it's 1 point can make all the difference. So good work, everyone. Francis, we're going to give you a little rest, and we're welcome back to the panel, and we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this one is Room with a Storm View, and it's a blue morph Arctic fox Iceland winter.
All right, we have an 89, just shy. We have an 89 silver with distinction. And we've got two judges in the 90s. And Matt and Joe, actually, there was a race. Matt won the race of who wants to push the challenge button first. Good job, Matt. Take it away.
Yeah, wow. What an image that showcases the harshness of a landscape and how hard it is to survive in a place like that for this species. You can really feel the strength of the wind just looking at this image, and it represents in the image in different ways. So like the snowdrift or the blown snow, but also you can see this really hard cornice that's been formed in the ice that the Arctic fox is standing on, and that in itself is shaped by the ferociousness of the conditions. And then it gives us even more than that with the depth of the landscape. So you can see the ocean, you can see across the fjord or whatever it is, the bay, to the other side, and you get this real sense of expansiveness and a real appreciation for the hostile and bleak feeling of this beautiful landscape. From a technical perspective, the Arctic fox has been photographed beautifully. It's pinned sharp. You can see the snow clinging to its coat, and the way that it's kind of got its eyes closed as if to protect itself from the bitter cold of the wind kind of swirling around and hitting it in the face. I can, having been in places like this, I can really relate to that feeling. And I think in this image, it's been captured exceptionally.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Tracy, I might go to you. You're way down the other end on 88. Still very high.
Yeah, I mean it's a stunning image, and I say the environmental shot. I mean these are really harsh conditions. It's hard to be there to photograph in those conditions, let alone the poor Arctic foxes that have to live there. Yeah, I've listened to what everybody's saying. For me, the only thing that has prevented me from going that little step higher is the really bleached white sort of flecks going down that embankment is drawing my eyes away from that fox itself, and it just keeps drawing my eyes, and there's just really, really highly flecks coming down to the edge. And also there's two prominent bits of snow just on the coastline bottom left hand corner. That again is drawing my eye out of that image away from the fox. You want that center point of focus to be on that fox, but my eyes are just keep drawing away, just maybe a tighter crop in from that left hand side to get rid of those two blobs. The rest of the blobs are of the snow in the water are hidden because of the snow and the blustery snow being blown around. But I am listening. I am listening.
Thanks, Tracy. Joe, you're in support of this on 92.
Yay, I do get to speak. Look, this image is beautiful, and the longer I sit with it, the more I love it. So, for all the reasons that have been mentioned, but it's got this almost wide angle feel to it, that these are quite elusive creatures, and being able to have this sort of almost wide angle feel to probably a zoom image lens is pretty incredible. But it's the emotion in this. Like, this little tiny fox is living in such a difficult environment, and we can see just how difficult it is through that, all the snow being whipped up, and then it's covered in snow on its coat. But it's got its eyes closed, but it's facing that wind head on. It's not hiding for it. It's meant to be here. It's just absolutely beautiful. Those little things that are down in the corner, the blobs, would it be better without them? Possibly, but I quite like that my eye travels down to it, and then that snowdrift brings me back up to that fox. So I think it actually works in this opinion. And I've got this as a 92, a strong gold. And I think I might even go higher because it's just beautiful. Yeah, I hope you come with me.
Brilliant. Anne, I might come to you actually. So you weren't too far behind again. High silver with distinction.
Yeah, I was on 88. I am definitely going to be coming up in my score. The thing that is going to roll me over into gold is I've never seen an image, a snow scene like this, where the actual movement of the snow or the storm has been captured beautifully, and it adds such a dimension to the image, and yet those waves of snow haven't crossed the creature's face, and so I get to enjoy the animal in its entirety, beautifully clear, but with that weather event so beautifully captured coming up and sitting in the in front of the creature. So I'm definitely going to increase my score. I'll be coming up to gold.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. Matt, let's come back to you to wrap us up.
Yeah, the only things that were given to me to try and address are the two little blobs in the left corner and perhaps some of the white underneath the fox. I feel like the use of white in this image, where not everything is off-white, but some of it is a bit of a crisp white, gives it a real sense, it gives it a lift, so that this image has so much energy to it, and you wouldn't want to sap that away by not having some really white tones to it and having it all be quite muted. So I kind of appreciate the texture and vibrancy that white gives. In terms of the little blobs, I agree, probably a little crop could have helped that. But I think the photographer might have chosen to include that wider area on the left just to give that snowdrift or the snow a little bit more room in the composition to swell back around. But I don't, like, I'm on 92, so I'm 8 points off perfect. So I guess it depends how many points you want to take off for those. And I hope we all got to gold.
Excellent. Thanks, Matt. Matt, you're going to lock your score in at 92. All other judges, you're invited to rescore now, please. And we've moved up to 91. Gold award. Fantastic work, everyone. And congratulations to the entrant. Again, a gold is a really excellent achievement. So well done. Before we go to our next image, Jess, you can have a little bit of a break. And Craig, you're going to come back on. And Mel, let's have our next image, please.
Okay, this image is titled Splash and Dash. And it's an Adelie penguin coming ashore in Antarctica in the Ross Sea region.
Excellent. We have an 83, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. And Tracy. Tracy's on 87 in silver with distinction, and she's taking the challenge. Take it away, Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, this image just makes you smile. You can see the joy in the penguin's face as it's coming out of the water. And yeah, penguins I always find just so energetic, and this image brings energy. And I just feel the colouring, the lighting, everything's just been handled really, really well. And I love the low angle with the mushiness. I'm an advocate for mushiness in the foreground, just adding a bit of extra frame to the image. But yeah, I just, I've scored it 87, silver with distinction. It just brings joy and emotion, and everything's just been handled really well. So I'd really love to hear your comments, judges.
Brilliant. Thanks, Tracy. Craig, you were in the silver range for this one.
I was. I'm at 81 and I enjoyed it for all those reasons. I really like the energy about it. But in words that you'll never hear me say, I wish it wasn't quite at such a low angle. I also advocate for foreground mush. But for this one, I'd love to see, like, I don't know, like a little bit of a foot and some of those splashes that you can just see coming off of the feet of the bird. I would love to see that. And then, look, it's very difficult light conditions, and I think the photographer has handled that very well. But it has meant that there is quite a lot of distracting bokeh on those icicles in the background. And again, normally I'm an advocate for this kind of thing, but I just feel like in this image, it's just a little bit too busy. So perhaps thinking about how you might be able to crop it slightly to get rid of some of those highlights at the very top middle there. And then I'd be thinking about maybe coming a bit higher. But yeah, I do like it for the reason you said, so I am listening and willing to move.
Thanks, Craig. Joe, you were right on the average with 83.
Yeah, I've given this an 83 for all the positives that have been mentioned. It is a really fun image with a lot of energy to it. But I think in this case, like a little bit less would have been more. The right-hand side of the frame is just empty. There's no icicles. There's not a lot going on there. And I think that if you do the good old cropping it at a vertical would have just brought us right into that cute little face. And the angle of the beak and the fact that it doesn't break the side of the face really flattens the look of the head, which it makes it look a little bit unusual, and which I mean can be a positive, but for me I feel like it's missing a little bit because of that. But the splash is great, and I also like the gloopy bottom.
All right, thanks, Joe. Tracy, back to you.
Thanks, judges. With regards to the bokeh effect, I think it emphasises the image. It helps frame the whole penguin. So I love, and there's no blown aspects. I feel even the bokeh and the highlights in those icicles have been handled extremely well, given the light conditions this photographer's been photographing in. But I think it adds to the image. I wouldn't personally crop them out. The negative space on the right hand side, I think it's needed because the composition works well. A tighter crop, you just wouldn't get the same impact for me as you do now. And yeah, I just think it just makes you smile, and they're just so excitable. So yeah, thank you, judges.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Tracy, you're going to leave your score at 87, and all other judges can rescore now, please. And we have an 84. We moved up 1 point into silver. So good work, everyone. Francis, we're going to bring you back onto the panel. And Joe, you can go have a little rest. Got to say, I'm super impressed with the technical terms that I'm learning today, like gloopy and mushy. So thanks, you guys, for bringing such a rich diversity of language to the panel. Mel, can we have our next image, please?
Okay, this image title is Sleeping Pangolin, and its context statement: long-tailed pangolin, Nyambe Beppo Forest Reserve, Ghana, March 2026.
We have an 82, a silver award. And we're not staying there long. Craig, you're on 91. Go for it.
I am. I have not really seen an image like this of a pangolin before. These are most commonly photographed when they're dead and have been poached. And to see one in its environment sleeping like this, I think is, it has a power to it for this species. I love the cool greens and that warm scale tone coming through, really pushing out that color. And yeah, I would love to have a chat a bit more about this one and see what you guys all think.
Excellent. Thanks, Craig. And you are on the other end of the scale on 77.
Yeah, Craig, I hear everything that you're saying. It is, the tones in this image are beautiful. I'm not familiar with the animal, must admit. What held me back what held me back was just zooming in onto the animal's face. I just felt for something that is sleeping, just a little loss of detail there, particularly on what I think is the eye that I'm looking at, and just the balance of the image, a little off the left-hand side, I think would work for a stronger image.
All right, thanks, Anne. Matt, you're right on the average there.
Yeah, I was just going to point out that I think it's a little front focused as well. But I do think perhaps there is some of that loss of detail, perhaps from the equipment rather than the photographer, because it doesn't appear to be anywhere that's super sharp. But I do think the feeling that this image evokes is just beautiful, which is why I've put it into silver, because it says clear strengths and concept, technique, or impact. So I thought the concept and impact was, for me, put it into the silver range. I might struggle a little bit in gold though.
Thanks, Matt. And Craig, back to you.
Well, I think that I might be struggling to get it in gold, but I would love to at least see it in the distinction range, just to address a couple of the issues. I think the conditions here are extremely challenging. So I think a lot of that quality loss is probably relating to noise. There's going to have been a high ISO here, and you can't use flash, of course. You've spoke about the emotion. I absolutely think that the emotion is what we need to reward in this image. As I said earlier, this is a species that is usually poached a lot. In fact, I think it's one of the most trafficked animals on the planet. So to see it here alive and sleeping and relaxed and resting in its environment, I think is fantastic. I wouldn't crop it either, because I love the context that left-hand side gives to the background in the very distance there, with the blurred greens in those foliages there. So yeah, if you can't come up to gold, then at least come up to distinction for its emotional qualities.
All right, thanks, Craig. Craig, you're going to keep your score at 91. All other judges, you can rescore now, please. And we might have lost Anne. It looks like Anne's internet has dropped out, which I think that's the first time that's happened. That it even happened last year. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring Joe onto the panel. And Joe, I'm going to ask you, Anne's original score was 77. I'm going to ask you to keep that in mind. And can you please rescore on her behalf? All right, we've moved 2 points up to 84. Stronger silver award. So well done, team. Excellent work. And Anne has just put a note that her Wi-Fi's gone down, so she'll be joining us shortly. So let's probably keep her off the panel for a little bit. But Jess, we're going to bring you back on, and Craig, we're going to give you a little break. And we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this image is Savannah Heat, and the location, or the context statement, Kruger National Park, South Africa.
Scores, please, judges. We got one of you we're waiting for. His name starts with Joe Howell. Tried not to out you, Joe, but all right, we have a score of 78 with pretty even scoring all across the panel. So thanks, everyone. I'd love to get a comment from Jess on this one, please.
Yeah, I scored right on the average, so yay for me. A great image from this entrant, and when the title was first read, I thought I don't know how relevant that is, and then I looked more into the image. I do feel like the lack of focus on the female's head is actually intentional. The male's scenting to see if she's in heat or not. So actually, I think it's quite a clever title and quite a cleverly shot image, which definitely does meet the criteria for the highly commended range. So great job. An area of improvement, I think, just given the fact that that area at the rear of the female is the sharpest one, with his expression, it would be a slight compositional change to have more of him. And then slightly, if we possibly can just control a little bit of the highlights on the front surface of the female's nose, because we're going to the brightest part. Overall, great image and one that does tell a story.
Excellent. Thanks, Jess. Anne, we're going to welcome you back onto the panel. And Joe, you can have a little break again while we reset. And we'll go to our next image, please. Mel.
Okay, the context for this image is polar bear, Ursus maritimus, Churchill, Canada.
All right, we have a 78, highly commended. So well done to the entrant. And I might come to Matt for a comment on this one, please.
Yeah, I really appreciate that the photographer is showing us a polar bear in a different style of habitat. So, of course, there's a lot of polar bears in Churchill, but you don't often see them photographed in such a beautiful spring landscape. And of course, this is a little bit more of a tricky landscape for a polar bear to survive in. It's great to see how healthy the two cubs are. In terms of some minor improvements, I'd look at the whiteness on the back of the coats, particularly of the cubs. There's some highlights that are starting to get lost there. And also do a quick scan of the sky for dust spots, especially when you get such subtle skies. There's a couple hiding away in there.
Excellent. That's good advice. Thanks, Matt. And for your troubles, you can have a little break. And we're going to bring Craig back on. And we'll have our next image, please. And after this image, we're going to take a little short break to hear from our sponsors as well.
The title of this image is I See You, and it's a hippopotamus in Botswana.
And we have a 78, highly commended. And we might come to, let's actually, Tracy. Tracy's pretty keen to advocate for this image. Tracy's on 83 and is taking the challenge. So over to you, Tracy.
Yeah, again another sort of high key, beautiful high key image. Now I like the way hippopotamuses or hippopotami are photographed in these conditions because it really highlights them in a completely different way. Love the eye level aspect, and yeah, the detail captured to like the hair on its ears and the dimples on its skin, and compositionally I think it's been handled extremely well, which is why I put it within the silver, strong and creative. And it does have the impact because, you know, you go straight to the center point of focus and it really is giving you the evil eye and you don't want to mess with this hippo. But yeah, I'm willing to listen to my fellow judges.
Thanks, Tracy. I might go to Jess next. Jess, you saw this a bit differently.
Yeah, I did. I immediately taken with the angular shot, which I think works really well. That being said, when I've gone and looked in at 100%, that front eye is completely soft. So the sharpest point of the image is the back ear, the furthest ear on the hippopotamus. And I feel like that just reduced the level of impact for me, as the technical control to get the closest eye to the camera sharp wasn't there. And that's so important for really making sure that we're driving home the impact that the eyes, the windows to the soul, can have on the animal. Had that focus been in the right place, I would be with you. But at the moment, that's holding me back.
All right, thanks, Jess. And you were right on the average on 78.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, Jess has pretty much summarised everything that has been holding me back on this one. But I do appreciate that beautiful point of view, and the crop is wonderful.
All right, thanks, Anne. Tracy, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, judges. Yeah, I'm listening to everything you said, and yeah, the lack of sharpness. I think it's more down to noise that has affected the detail in there. These are often photographed in low light conditions. I commend the photographer to still get in that detail. You can still see those little fine hairs and dimples, and for me, there's enough detail in the eye for me. But yeah, I just think it's well executed by the photographer, and I commend them for producing something different with the hippo.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. So, Tracy, you're going to keep your score on 83, and other judges, you can rescore now, please. We moved up 1 point, 79, highly commended. So every point counts. Well done to the entrant for their highly commended. And we're at the halfway point of wildlife judging, everyone, which is fabulous. So thanks, judges, for your hard work, and entrants for your excellent images. We're going to take a little short break now and watch a couple of ads from our excellent sponsors, who we really appreciate their support for the Australian Photographic Prize. And we'll see you back here in a couple minutes.
Wow, photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rizzetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
The PPBN is a network,
An online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
from those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Hope you're loving the wildlife category so far. I super am, and just chatting with the judges in the break, I think everyone's having a good time. It's nervous judging, it's hard work, and I think they're loving it. There's so many smiles on the panel, it's great. So Mel, actually, let me do a little change on the judges. So Tracy, you can have a break for a sec, and Joe, you're back on the panel. And Mel, let's go to our next image, please.
Okay, the title of this image is Grumpy at the Waterhole, and a context statement is Elephant, Champol Wilderness, Kenya.
We have an 80, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. That's excellent. I might get a comment from Craig, please.
Yeah, I think this is a really fantastic image, which is all about the texture of this old elephant, really. And I think just to improve it, I probably would have zoomed in and cropped this a little bit tighter to really bring the texture forwards, or perhaps have a look at balancing so we can see a little bit more detail in the background. I know this is probably taken at night and that's a little bit more challenging, but just giving a little bit more context in that black space would be good. Either way, I think that would have taken the image up a little bit further.
Brilliant. Thanks, Craig. I've just taken Anne off the panel and put Matt on. I think I pushed the buttons and now I've forgotten what I've done. So if your scores are showing, you're about to judge. Fantastic. Can we have our next image, please, Mel?
The title of this image is Passenger, and our context, Southern African giraffe and an oxpecker, Sabi Sands, South Africa.
We have a 78, a highly commended. So good job to the photographer. Are we all happy with that? Frances is keen to challenge. Frances is on 83, so she's in the silver range, and because she's in the next range, she can challenge. Take it away, Frances.
Yes, look, I just think this is a very unique, creative, innovative way to take a portrait of a giraffe, which is not very common, and that's why I put it in the silver range. I think it's technically done well with the fur of the giraffe is shown really well. We also get a bit of a geometrical pattern there with all the texture of the fur and the colors in the pattern. And that bird, it's just the king of the story, really. And just getting a little bit of a tickle of the mane there from the giraffe. So I really think the narrative of this image makes it. It's not something I've seen before. And yeah, I think you just should have another look and consider again.
Excellent. Thanks, Francis. Craig, you were on the highly committed range.
Yeah, I'm at 76 on this one, and I appreciate all of those things about this, Francis. I love the color harmony in here. I love the texture in the fur of the giraffe. But for me, it is not a portrait of the giraffe. It's a portrait of the oxpecker. And I think compositionally, it's really unbalanced. I think even though the oxpecker is small in the frame, it is a portrait of this bird, and it's looking so directly to the right. I think that extra space on the left isn't needed, and we probably don't need the sky on that side even. And then the other couple of things that have kept me out of going into silver range is there are dust spots all through the sky, and the heavy blue vignetting is really kind of distracting me rather than kind of bringing me into where I want to look. So if you can address some of those things, then I would happily move my score.
All right. Thanks, Craig. Matt, you were pretty close to the average there.
Yeah, what Craig said, but I would just add, I feel like the mane of the giraffe is what's crisply in focus, and the bird is just ever so slightly out of that. But I would add, as a positive, it shows the symbiosis between the birds and grooming these giraffes, and that they rely on each other. And then there's kind of like the hidden detail of actually a fly on the giraffe as well, which I know is not uncommon, but it shows more of a parasitic relationship. So there is a little bit more I guess, story that can be found in the image. I put it into commended. I'm pretty happy with it there.
Well, thanks, Matt. Francis, back to you.
Yes, look, I do agree with these few little details, Greg. There is a couple of dust spots in the sky, which I saw. I just think it belongs in the silver range, not necessarily silver distinction or gold range, but I think it's a solid silver for me, just for the uniqueness of the image. Now, the sky on the left-hand side, well, the sky is the bird's environment. It does need that. I do like that extra sky around it for the bird to fly away whenever it's ready or in danger. A portrait of the bird, portrait of the giraffe, as Matt said, they do belong together. They work together. So it could be a portrait of them together or together. And so, yes, look, I just think the narrative is the key point here. And I just think a couple of points and put that in the silver range. That would be great.
Excellent. Thanks, Francis. You're going to hold your score at 83. Other judges, please rescore now. And we've stuck on 78, highly commended. So excellent discussion, judges, and I know that our entrant probably appreciated listening to all of that. Craig, you can have a little break, and let's bring Tracy back on, and we'll go to our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, this image is titled Beauty in the Bay, and our context, humpback whale near Eden, New South Wales, Australia.
All right, we have a score of 79, a highly commended. And Tracy. Tracy's on 82. She's in the next range, so she can challenge. Take it away, Tracy.
We're a point away. I'm going to fight for this. Yeah, I mean, these species are not easy to photograph at all and make an image look so energetic And just the aspect of timing, you have no real warning of these guys exploding. But I have to commend the photographer on the level of detail throughout the whale. It is just absolutely beautiful. And the highlights and everything, I think, have been handled extremely well compositionally. Yeah, it's again not easy, but I think again it complements the action. And yeah, it is just, I've put it in to say it's 82 within the silver category, strong and creative. And impact, it has the impact. You can feel the power that these whales are erupting out of the water. But yeah, eager to listen to my fellow judges.
Excellent. Thanks, Tracy. Matt. All the other judges are on 78. So, Matt, take it away.
Yeah, I agree. The detail is exceptional. And one thing I really appreciate is the sense of place. You don't often see whales in such an Australian kind of landscape behind them as well. So the thing that probably held me back is while I was appreciating all that gorgeous detail, I discovered not so much a dust spot, but a dust hair or a hair spot just at the end of its flipper, which is a really unfortunate placement for that. I scored it a 78, and had that been fixed, I probably would have come up to silver as well.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Francis, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Yes, look, I do think it's a gorgeous image, a portrait of a whale, and it's so sharp. It just caught it in the right moment. There's I just found it might be a slight color cast on it, just a little bit of a blue tone that comes out even stronger in the background that I found personally a little bit distracting. Just draws my eyes more into the background with these with the yellow lines there of the rock on the left side.
All right. Thanks, Francis. And Tracy, let's come back to you to wrap up.
Yeah, thank you, judges. I also saw that like horseshoe hairline, which is why it prevented me from going even higher. I wanted to score it silver with distinction higher. That brought me, kept me within the silver, because I think, yeah, to commend the photographer, the timing, the fact it's sharp within the timing movement, the detail, the power of the image. I think I understand like the color turn. There's a lot of heat haze there, and again, commending the photographer dealing with that haze. That can often affect the sharpness of the image overall. But yeah, I commend the photographer. So willing to see the scores. We've got 1 point, guys. 1 point. Come on.
Thank you, Tracy. Tracy, you're going to leave your score at 82. Everyone else, you're invited to rescore now, please. And we've stayed put, 79, highly commended. So no, it was good. And
Thank you,
the discussion is good. And can I say how highly commended in the wildlife category is still something to be really proud of as well. So well done to the entrant. All right, Francis, you can have a little break. And Anne, we're going to bring you back on. And we'll have our next image, please.
This image has no title or context statement.
All right. We have an initial score of 79, and Tracy's on 92. So I'm going to say probably, yep, excellent. Thanks, Tracy. I'll let you get your words together for a minute. Tracy, you got a bit of work to do. You've got a judge on 83, and the other judges are in the mid 70s. So take it away, Tracy.
Yeah, I mean, I commend the photographer for going into a tight crop. But but I love it. It's so impact, it's powerful, and if you zoom in on that eye, you get to see just the flex within the eye detail. It is absolutely stunning. Just the veins, the little aspects of detail in the eye and around it's just to me it's powerful, and I think I commend the photographer well, because it's busy around the image, so they've chosen that tighter crop to emphasize more on the lion's face. And I just think it's been absolutely beautiful, and the level of detail, the lighting, the color. But for me, my eyes go straight to that eye, and I don't think I've ever seen anything where the level of detail in an eye has been captured like that. So I'm willing to listen to my judges as to what they've seen.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Jess, you were right in the middle of the highly commended range with this one.
Yeah, I don't disagree with anything you said, Tracy, at all. I'm struggling with what it's very dangerous to assume anything when you're judging, but with the evidence available to us, I am assuming, rightly or wrongly, that there's been a colour change happen in the background to change green to yellow, or of a similar ilk, because there is a line of yellow that runs along the edge of the lion's muzzle. It's a really fine one. And then you've got the blue, which is the natural colour that's coming through, and then another yellow kind of bit, which could be a flower head, something blurry in the foreground. It's that edge and the lack of finesse on the execution of a colour change happening in the background to rightfully bring the color tones together and create perfect harmony that I'm struggling with. It's that little bit, and that's holding me out of silver, because in the criteria for that, we need to have sound execution with clear intention. I feel like the clear intention is there, but the execution isn't. So that's where I'm stuck, but I'm listening.
Thanks, Jess. And Joe, let's go to you right in the middle.
Yeah, I'm along the same lines as what holding me back is Jess there. The eye is great, but I find the yellows are overly saturated, and there's not that graduation between tones where that selective colour's been used. There's also a patch of banding up in the top left-hand corner, which is quite distracting, especially since the lion is looking in that direction. And I think it's just a little bit too contrasty, but I am listening because I think the pupil, beautiful. Well done.
Excellent. Thanks, Joe. And I said right in the middle. I was thinking of you. You are right in the middle of all this scoring. Do you have anything you want to add?
I am with Tracy on the eye, and the other judges, of course. The dynamism of the sharpness of the eye, the catch light in it, and the beautiful reflections that you can see. Just wanted to talk to the what held me where I am is not so much the colorings or the tonings, was just the bright spots which were coming through in that background. But speaking to the question just raised of possible color toning or color change in the background, that strictly wouldn't be allowable in this category. So I'm going to give the maker the benefit of the doubt on that one. I'm wondering if the yellow tonings that I can see on the bottom of the lion's muzzle is just a light source down there that is altering the color. That's really my 2 cents worth.
All right, thanks, Anne. Tracy, back to you.
Thank you, judges. For me, the color tones, the lion is absolutely perfect within the color tones, and we don't know what time of year this was photographed, whether it is, summer, winter, you don't know what aspect of the foliage is in the background, but you do get those color tones. So to me, it complements the lion. And it just helps bring those colors, especially matching the color of the eye. To me, it just complements overall the image. And I just think it's just powerful to have something so close and cropped, and it would have probably photographed in such a busy, it's probably under a bush and have all this foliage around it. But the way they've managed to crop this to bring it into a powerful image, to me, I think the photographer needs to be commended, and why I've scored it the way I have. So yeah, let's see what happens.
All right, thanks, Tracy. You're going to keep your score on 92. Other judges, you can rescore now, please. And we stayed on 79, highly commended. So thanks, judges, for the discussion. And we're going to do a little judge change again. So Jess, you can have a little rest. And Craig, you're back onto the panel. And we'll go on to our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Mud Skipper Territory War. And a little bit about it is two blue-spotted mud skippers use the watery mud to swipe attacks on one another.
And we have an 82, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. And Craig, straight away with his hand up to challenge this one. Go for it, Craig.
Yeah, I'm at 88 on this one. I'd love to see this in the distinction range. I think this is a fantastic behavior shot of subjects that are not necessarily easy to photograph. I love the colors. I love that super shallow depth of field and that shape that the mud is created is amazing. Even those two little splashes on it on their own on the left-hand side. So yeah, let's have a chat.
Brilliant. Tracy, you were down in a highly commended range.
Yeah, I'm scored at 77. Initial impact is there, and but upon closer inspection, I am struggling to find a center point of focus. There is no sharpness throughout the entirety of the image that I can see, which is a shame. I'd love to have gone higher, but for me, you know, the color tones, the lighting, everything else, even the low level aspect and the mushiness and everything, but I'm just struggling to find sharpness throughout both those little critters. But I'm listening.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Anne, you were right on the announced score there on 82.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this image. What held me back is simply the narrative. I found the image just a little bit difficult to read with that second little critter blending into the mud in the background, and that is what has kept me at my score.
All right, thanks, Anne. Craig, back to you.
Okay, I think that the thing with these guys is that they're flicking that mud with their tails. So that's kind of why the splash is coming off of the back end and that one behind is coming up. Maybe it's going to give another little flick. What I haven't mentioned that I absolutely love is the eyes reflected in the water there of that one at the back, which gives me kind of a place to rest. Tracy, I will acknowledge that there is a slight lack of definition through this. I do think it is sharp. I just think there may be a slight quality breakdown. Maybe it's cropped in a little bit. So we have lost a bit of quality there. If that wasn't the case, I would be well into the 90s on this one. I think it's a fantastic behavioral image. Love the light and the color, and every point counts. So come up with me.
Excellent. Thanks, Craig. Craig, you're going to leave your score at 88. Everyone else, you're invited to rescore now, please. And we've stuck hard on 82, silver award. Excellent discussion, though, and I know the photographer is going to be very keen for that, so thank you. Folks at home, if you're watching, we are running about half an hour behind time, so we'll be finishing around 9:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time. We got about 50 minutes left, so if you haven't got a snack, get someone to go get a snack for you. And before we go on to our next image, we're going to take Jo off the panel and give her a short break. And we're going to bring Francis back on. So we'll have our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Beneath the Mountains We March. And some details: reindeer, Svalbard, winter.
All right. We have an initial score of 87, a silver with distinction. Matt's put his hand up to challenge. Kind of got that message from your 96 there, Matt. So this is one of those higher scoring potential images. So I can't wait to hear this conversation. Matt, over to you.
Yeah, well, and a gorgeous image from Svalbard. I think something that I really appreciate that might be a sticking point for some is the composition and the tightness along the bottom on the edges. I feel like that really maximizes the weight of the landscape that's above these deer. And then when you look at the actual deer, it's almost like that weight is sitting on their shoulders. Each one of them has this unique pose. They're fixed on the one in front of them, and they're just hauling to get through these conditions. I think it's just beautifully delicate, beautifully handled, excellent detail. If this was a composite category, which it is not, you could not have placed these deer better than what they have been just by nature itself. It's just so beautifully captured.
All right, thanks, Matt. Francis, you were in the silver range for this one.
Yes, I put it in the silver range. I did see all these points, and I think it's a beautiful composition. Very well captured. I like how the reindeers, the distance between them is just perfect. Coming to the mountains and having a close look, I just found it a little bit repetitive. I get a little bit lost, and I can't really see behind the reindeers at the big middle space there. And yeah, if you can let me know a little bit more about that, or explain a little bit more about the environment, that would be great.
All right, thanks, Francis. Craig, you were really close to the average there.
Yeah, and I'm glad that we get the chance to talk about this one because I'm sitting with it a bit longer and I do feel like I have underscored. So yeah, I was at 86. I am coming up. I think that middle ground actually is really what makes this interesting for me because you've got those kind of sweeps of snowdrifts that kind of bring you down from those top three kind of main peaks in that V shape in the middle, and then you come down through the valley. Yeah, so I'm really liking this the more I'm sitting with it, and I'll definitely be coming up.
All right, thank you, Craig. Matt, let's come back to you for your right of reply.
Oh, that was quick. Okay, so to address some of the comments, like the repetitiveness of the landscape, that you could get lost in this landscape, I think all of that actually speaks to the journey. And this is a very repetitive landscape. It's kind of like those table mountains that all kind of sit along the same height. I find that this image really encapsulates that style of landscape beautifully. And the treatment, the high key treatment, just gives it the sense of elegantness and delicateness that really is suitable for the terrain. Thanks to Craig for your comments on the snowdrift. I feel like when the cold airs do rush down from those mountains and whip up the snow, you do kind of get that really white, bright kind of look from that natural phenomenon. So, and then I think that's really all that came up. So all I'll say is that I scored it into this area. I gave it a 96, not even just a gold, but I'd love to see it get a gold. But I do think it's near flawless. For me, certainly it's emotionally powerful. I'm feeling what these reindeers are going through. And I also feel the allure of the landscape itself. And I also think in terms of creatively groundbreaking, the way that it's treated so elegantly, the high key approach, the way that it's really intentionally framed on the bottom to make you feel the weight of this landscape, and that this isn't all of the landscape. There's going to be another frame beside this and another frame beside this, and this landscape just goes on and on and on, and that's what these reindeer are contending with. So I think that's just been beautifully executed, and I hope you can come up as high as possible.
So thank you, Matt. Matt, you're going to hold your score at 96, and our other judges, you're invited to rescore net, please. Well done, Matt. We have a 95, a gold with distinction. Spectacular work. Congratulations to the entrant. Good work, panel. At home, you can't see the scores coming in one by one, but I can. It's pretty exciting watching these scores come in, I got to tell you. Well done, everyone. Okay, Whew, shake that one off. Matt, for your excellent work, we're going to give you a rest. And Jess, we're going to bring you back onto the panel. And Mel, can we have our next image, please?
Okay, the title of this image is Rock Wallabies Basking in the Morning. And the context statement, yellow-footed rock wallabies basking in the morning sun in Brashina Gorge, South Australia.
Francis, can you? Oh, there you are. We have an 82, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant for their silver. Now Francis is on 85, silver distinction, and she has the right to an elective challenge, and she's taking it.
Yes,
So over to you,
I'm
Francis.
quite excited about this capture. I think the photographer did an amazing job. These little creatures are actually quite shy, so in the first place to get it so perfect and is quite amazing. I like it. Really shows the beautiful color of the fur of the gray and the white and the brown and the little Joey in the pouch, both looking at the camera, and then just that sort of the composition of the triangles of the animal itself is just gorgeous, but also the framing with the rock, with the natural environment and the little sticks coming up here. It's just technically done really, really well. Beautiful focus range it's kept, and the background slightly soft. We know the environment, that's how it looks around there, but then it's out of focus, so it's not distracting us from the beautiful foreground and from the subject. I really think it deserves to just come up a few points and get into that silver distinction range, because it's done absolutely marvelous.
Brilliant. Thanks, Francis. Craig, you were in the highly commended range.
Yeah, I'm at 78 on this one, and I really love the color. I think that the light has been handled nicely, and I think that the leading lines all coming towards the wallabies here is really lovely. I struggle a little with the composition. There's dark areas in the right-hand corners and a light one in the top left, and I think a crop adjustment would have done this image wonders. That little bit of grass coming out to the top of the image as well is unfortunate. It's there in the scene, we can't remove it, but perhaps again just coming down a little bit tighter so that that brightest line is not leading us out of the frame there, I think would really help. So a few things kept me out of the silver range on this one.
All right, thanks, Craig. Anne, you were right smack on the average on 82.
Yes, thanks, Chris. Beautifully, I really enjoy the composition here and the placement of the creatures in the center of the frame. I'm actually very comfortable with. What held me at my score of 82 silver, just a little issue with clarity or sharpness through the face for me. The focus seems to have fallen. It's very sharp on the Joey, but not so much on the mum, and that's what is popped me into silver.
All right, thanks, Anne. Francis, we're going to come back to you for right of reply.
Okay. Well, first of all, the darker area on the right-hand side of the image, I think it quite suits the environment. It must be either morning or afternoon light. It is the light around there, like in many places in Australia, is super contrasty, so it's quite normal for that light to be so dark as it is in the right-hand corner. Now, the grass on the top, on the cliff there, it's also very much part of the environment. It's dry, it's harsh, it just sticks out everywhere. It's quite very realistic picture of the environment there. The sharpness on the eyes, I think they they sit really well. I think there is no issue with that at all. And yeah, I just think the composition and just the little details, the flowers on the left-hand side, there is two little purple flowers on the left-hand side, and these kind of flowers actually grow there, and just a little bit of green on one of the stems. So maybe they had some rain, maybe not. It's dry. The rest of them are dry. It really represents the outback there from South Australia really nicely. And this animal lives in these rocks in this area, and it really shows us a perfect wildlife shot of the environment there. So I think it really deserves to come up a couple of points and go in the silver distinction range.
Excellent. Thank you, Frances. Frances's score is 85, and she's going to hold it there. Everyone else is invited to rescore now. We have an 82 silver award. So excellent discussion, judges. Now, Tracy, we're going to let you go have the shortest nap ever. And Joe Howell, who is returning from the shortest nap ever, you're back. Let's go on to our next image, please, Mel.
Yeah, the title of this image is Okavango Delta, Botswana. And there's no context statement.
All right. We have an initial score of 83. And I'm going to say that Jess is probably pretty keen to have a crack at challenging this one from 93 in gold. Jess?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. In all ways. So so I'm looking at my scoring criteria and I'm thinking, is this an outstanding image for me? Yes. Is it confidently original for me? Yes. Is it emotionally powerful? Yes. We've got the little baby there. Mum's trying to lead him off, probably away from the sun. I'm reading that into it. Very, very, very difficult to capture an image like this and then tone it like this. And I think that's been so well done for taking us in, showing us all of the sludge and kind of stuff on the water as well, from all of these different animals going through and bathing and so on and so forth. With the bubbles, we've got movement and things happening. This image tells a story with the most unusual and brave composition that I think should be rewarded. And that is why I'm sitting in gold. And I'm very interested to hear what everybody else has to say, because I think you guys might need to come join me in the nice gold area.
Thanks, Jess. Anne, you were down in the highly commended range.
Oh, Jess, I'm so sorry I was down on 77, but I absolutely agree with all of the elements which you pointed out. For me, that incredible point of view is an absolute winner. It's what grabbed me initially. And that parent-child story is always an unbelievably strong one that is very easy for most people to resonate with. What held me back was, and more than happy to chat about this, the highlights on the right-hand side of the mum, I'm assuming it's mum, the parent, just on the ear and going hard down the right-hand side, and on the juvenile as well. And just a little bit of noise, which I thought might have been controlled in post. Those really were my two main issues. So yeah, definitely listening.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. Craig, we're going to come to you next. So you were smack in the middle of the silver range.
I am at 83, and I am glad we've had a challenge and a chat about this, because I think I let my technical brain overrule my emotional one, which is not something I do very often, but those highlights really bothered me too, Anne. But I'm sitting here, and the more I'm sitting here, I'm thinking about the fact that this is like a galaxy in the river, and, you know, a Milky Way. And then I'm thinking about the animal's behavior because, you know, the composition is very much top heavy. But I feel like this hippo's walking up the river, flicking its tail and doing what hippos do with their excrement and flicking it all over the place. And it added a little bit of humor to it for me. And then I'm thinking about the baby hippo having to get out of the way. And so I'm starting to enjoy this more and more and more the more I'm looking at it. So I do think I've underscored it, and I'm glad we're having a little bit more of a look at this. I love
Thanks,
the
Craig.
scars on the hippo's back as well.
Awesome work, Craig. Joe, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to add that Craig did talk about the sort of the galaxy, and I look at these two as like there's the mum's the big planet, and then you've got this little moon of a bright little baby that's following behind. And I look at the cloudiness in the water. Is it reflections of the clouds? Is it the mud that's being stirred up by them going along the bottom? And I mean, they live their lives in the water, and it can be, I just love that just behind the baby, it looks like it's done a little fart underwater and you've got those bubbles coming up. So that just adds to the humor of it. But the scars on the back of that mum, she's looking into the darkness, and then you've got this little baby following her blindly, just trusting with this beautiful non-scarred skin. I think it's the more you look at it, the more there is to see in this image. And yeah, I think I might go up a little higher.
All right, thanks, Joe. Jess, over to you.
I'm really glad that you all saw how lovely it was. And also how gnarly with all those scars. That mum's been through a lot, maybe to keep this baby safe, maybe in the past, you know, those things are all coming to the forefront. I think the comments I'm really glad to have had are about the highlights and about the noise. Given what we were talking about earlier on in terms of the light, we can assume, rightly or wrongly, and assumptions are dangerous, that this is either first thing in the morning or last thing at night, because that light is really soft for this location. So I would imagine we're in that kind of a lighting condition. That being said, we are very close to the equator, so the light's going to be strong and harsh at the same time, like in terms of its strength. So I think dynamic range was always going to be tricky here, but also trying to keep the darkest points of this visible, we're going to have had really tricky exposure situations too. So a big shadow lift, I think, has done us wonders, and actually can forgive the level of noise, which I don't think's critical personally. Forgive that in this instance. And then with the highlights, I was with you because everyone knows I'm a technical stickler. I was really struggling with the highlights on this, and that's why I've not gone into gold with distinction. Literally, that is my only thing that I'm just holding off on, because the highlights are hot. That being said, drone photography is really tricky on the dynamic range and on the resolution as well. There's often things that we can't have as perfect as we want them to be. I do think that the highlight control, there's been serious effort there. I don't think anything is blown out in this. I think the black and white conversion was brave but well achieved. Well done. I think this image really does deserve a bit more. Really, really, really special one. Very, very well done from the author.
Excellent. Thank you, Jess. Jess, you're going to hold your score at 93. Everyone else, please rescore. Strong work. We have a 90, a gold award. Fabulous. Good work, panel. It's really good to see. And congratulations to the entrant. We said it a few times. The gold is really special. So well done. Anne, you can have a little break, and we're going to bring Matt Palmer back on, and we're going to go to our next image, please, Mel.
Hey, the title of this image is Tail Up and Ready to Go. And the name, species, and location, it's a numbat from Western Australia.
All right, we have a 79, a highly commended. So congratulations to the photographer. So I'd love to get a comment on this one, and I might go to Matt for a comment, please.
Yeah, I think this is a very well executed portrait of this animal. One detail that I really appreciate is the shape of the tail, and then juxtapose that with the shape of all the summer flowers that are coming through as well. You've got all of these vertical lines. I think to improve it, probably shooting in some light that draws the attention more to the number a little, and perhaps just a crop from the right, because you've got a little bit of a seed pod sticking into the left that's catching a highlight. So just some little edge distractions there, but I think it's very well taken.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Craig, you're going to have a little break. And Tracy, you're back on after the shortest nap ever. And we'll go to our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Leopard, Zambia, and there is no context statement.
All right, we have an initial score of 85, a silver with distinction. And Tracy, right out of the gate with a challenge. Tracy's on 92. You got a good range of scores, Tracy, from 78, 83, 86, and 88. So take it away.
Yeah, I mean, impact, stunning. I feel the lighting on the leopard has been handled beautifully, and the darker background really helps frame that leopard. Just the level of detail there. Compositionally, again, I think it's been handled really well. It suits the actual image itself, but what a pose. And zooming in on that leopard as well, the detail, the focus in those eyes, across the fur, the entirety of the leopard down to the paw, depth of field has been again handled extremely well by the photographer. So I really commend them on this, and I think it really does sit. It's an outstanding image showing excellent in concept, craft, impact. It's emotionally powerful. It's everything that I feel sits within that gold category. So I'm willing to listen to my fellow judges.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Joe, you were in the highly commended range for this one.
Yeah, I gave this 78. I really, yes, the connection between the animal and viewer is great with that beautiful direct eye contact. And the colors in the leopard are nice, but I find the background treatment, it's just it's overly darkened. There's some issues with masking where you get a bit of a glow where the background's been adjusted and possibly softened. I'm struggling with the fact that you've got this orange color tone on the leopard and the branch, but the branch just that's coming out of the leopard's head has got a real magenta cast to it. And I'm also finding I'm struggling. My eye keeps bouncing between the eyes and the light section on the log that's just below the leopard, and I find that's a really competing element. And well, yeah, it's beautiful leopard, great pose, but for the other issues, it's just really holding me back.
All right, thanks, Joe. Jess, you were pretty close to the average there on 86.
Yeah, sort of middle of the field. I think that for me, again, sorry, I'm referring back to my scoring criteria again. It's the nuances in the words that I think are important. So I'm in just inside of silver with distinction, because I feel like this image does have elevated levels of execution, just in terms of things aren't being overly pushed. The saturation hasn't been ramped up overly, so it's not been over sharpened. Like, there's a level of finesse that sits in the middle for me on our subject, and I think that works in its favor. But where I'm getting stuck is to go up with you, Tracy, there, I'm going to need that gold's emotionally powerful or confidently original. I feel like this has emotional resonance, hence why I'm in silver with distinction, but I don't feel like it's emotionally powerful for me. And I have seen leopards on trees before. So is it then original in that respect? So that's why I'm kind of stuck where I am, and it's very much word based. Yeah.
All right, thanks, Jess. Tracy, actually, Matt, do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, just quickly, I need the same points elaborated on as Jessica, but the white of the branch there, I could interpret that possibly as it's filling the space that the body is behind the branch, and it could also be a result of this potentially being its favorite hangout spot, and maybe that's its impact on that branch over a long time. So I'm not too worried about the lightness there. I really like the tail, this dangling down in the corner there as a little hidden detail as well. But yeah, I'm kind of on the edge of the gold criteria, and if that can be expanded on, that would be great.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Okay,
thanks,
Tracy, back to you.
judges. Yeah, thank you. I take all your aspects. I said Matt's handled that extremely well with the comments on the detail of the log. I think that helps bring the image even more forward. The impact, I mean, over the 25 years I've been doing wildlife photography, I've not had opportunities or seen leopards in trees to this amazingness. This is just beautifully framed. The connection that Joe brought out, the connection to the camera, it's powerful, yet it's simple. And I haven't seen any like the darkening of the backgrounds, the sort of slight imperfections of the softening of the background. I can't see that. I'm not saying it's not there, but it's, to me, that's not impacting the image or any loss for me. This is gold. I'm not going gold with distinction. This is impactful for me. It is emotionally powerful. It is a powerful cat to see and photograph, but for me the depth of field alone, to get the level of detail from tail all the way up the back there and down to the paw, which is either side of that log, to me is amazing, and the colors and everything for me have been handled beautifully, and I just really think for me it sits well into the gold category. So thank you, judges, for your comments, and look forward to your scores.
All right, thanks, Tracy. You're on 92 and you're going to hold that there. Everyone else, please rescore. And we've moved up a couple of points. 87, solid silver with distinction. So excellent discussion, everyone. And well done to the photographer for the silver with distinction. Francis, we're going to give you a little break. And Anne, you're back on the panel. Let's go to our next image, please, Mel.
Okay, the title of this image is Weddell Slumber, and the context statement, Weddell seal, mother and pups, Antarctica.
Okay, we have a score of 85, silver with distinction. And you're sitting there on 90. I think I'm gonna, would you like to challenge this image?
Yeah, I'd like to challenge it, even for the opportunity to for everyone just to spend a little bit more time with the image and appreciate it a little further. I set it into gold for myriad reasons. The sharpness on the fur on both of the animals in the foreground, and the crop overall I thought works very well. What pushed me over into gold was the confidently original or emotionally powerful. I think the expression on the bigger seal's face is one of beauty and maternal care, and the juvenile in the front touching its nose with its flipper is just priceless. So for me, the story is a strong one of, again, that parent-child relationship. We've got the two other seals in the background, which also add to the narrative, give us a sense of place and a sense of the seal's environment. So yeah, would love to hear what others saw in this image.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. Joe, we're going to come to you next. So you were in the silver range.
Yeah, the everything you just mentioned about the front two seals is why I scored it as a silver. I think it's beautiful. The color palette's great. I'm a bit the very, very bright white. It's just fluorescing in the bottom, very bottom of the image and not so much at the top. But I mean, I just want to get rid of those two seals at the top. I find that all the beauty is in that softness and that detail, and the shape and the curve and the expressions of the two down the bottom. And I just find I'm battling between those two and the two that are up the top and the rock or poop or whatever it is that's up in the very top. I just find it distracting. But if you could talk to that, I've probably been a little bit harsh on 81, but I'm pretty happy with it as a silver for those two bottom ones just down there.
Thanks, Joe. Matt, you were just a touch above the average on 87.
Yeah, just to elaborate on that, I think the shape of the two foreground seals would beautifully suit a panoramic crop, and then you wouldn't have to remove anything from the scene. And then you'd be really drawing us into those beautiful details of the faces, the expression. I would have gone straight to gold if that was the case.
All right, thanks, Matt. And you know what? I'm going to go to Tracy, actually. I'd love to have some feedback from Tracy on this one before we go back to Anne.
I mean, for me, both what Joe and Matt has said, for me, I would have scored so much higher if we'd have just had that panoramic view of those two seals together, because that is such a beautiful image. The level of detail, especially in the youngster, is just stunning. But for me, I'm fighting the background of the two seals and the rock. But yeah, just that crop would have really elevated it into the higher scoring impact for me.
Okay, thanks, Tracy. And back to you.
Thanks, judges. Wonderful insights as always. I can understand what you're saying about the two seals in the background being a distraction and how panorama might have worked better. For me, I don't see it that way. I actually enjoy the context of the seals, the other seals in the background. As I said earlier, I think it gives the image a sense of place. Everyone is snoozing, everyone is relaxing here, and it is almost as if almost a family grouping and just a wonderful reflection of how these animals live in the wild. I think it's actually a bonus that we have the two in the background. But that said, I am on 90 in gold. Even just a few more points for this image, I think the maker would be very appreciative.
Excellent. Thanks, Anne. You're going to hold your score at 90. Everyone else, please rescore. And we've moved up at 1 point to 86, silver with distinction. So congratulations to the entrant. That's great. Jess, you can have a little break. Craig, we're going to bring you back onto the panel. And Mel, if we could have our next image, please.
Okay, the title of this image, A Whispered Presence in the Arctic Winter Void. And our context is Arctic Fox Svalbard.
All right, we have an initial score of 91, a gold award. And we've got Craig sitting up in that Gold with Distinction Zone. So, Craig, and all of our judges have scored pretty highly. We're going to hear from quite a few this time around. So, Craig, you can kick us off, please.
Okay. Well, I know an image is good when my heart starts beating faster, and this one really has got me going. I love this piercing eye contact with the fox, the sweep of the rocks. I think compositionally it's absolutely outstanding. I love the negative space. It really gives this harsh environment, kind of that whiteout kind of feeling that these animals deal with. And, you know, it really shows this camouflage off beautifully as well. And yeah, I see this in the distinction range in gold, and I would love to get some more points.
So thanks, Craig. Matt, you were in the silver with distinction range.
Yeah, lowest score, silver distinction. That's a good start. I think the thing that held me back from going into gold straight away was just the question about originality and how emotionally powerful it is. So if that's something that you can expand upon, I'd love to hear about it. I do love the restraint that the photographer's shown. They haven't tried to saturate the eyes or anything like that. They're just beautifully neutral with that touch of yellow glint to them, and it also brings the eyes together with the color of the rocks nearby as well. And when you explore the white spaces, you can kind of see these gentle undulations of snow as well. So it's not even that we're looking at the sky, we're looking at the landscape itself. So yeah, I gave it a good score, and I'm very happy to consider giving it a better score.
All right, thanks, Matt. Joe, you were exactly on the announced score of 91.
Yeah, look, this immediate impact, love the curve that goes on with those rocks, and it's a little bit fatter in the center. It's beautiful. It's almost like an Arctic bird that's flying through, and this little guy's sitting up on his wing. That connection that you've got with such a small face, but that you can really see that it's a very relaxed, interested face, which I really enjoy in wildlife photography. I would have gone straight into the gold distinction if there had been a little bit cropped off the top. If this was a panoramic, I feel that the white is a little overpowering at top, but everything else is just glorious. Love it.
All right, thanks, Joe. Anne, you were pretty high in the silver with distinction range.
Yeah, I've enjoyed all of the insights provided by my fellow judges. I feel I have also underscored what sat me in silver with distinction was the crop. Again, I reckon just a touch off the top would create just a fraction more balance for the image, but I am definitely willing, definitely listening, Craig, and definitely willing to come up.
All right, thanks, Anne. Tracy, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Everything's been said. I mean, for me, just like Matt's already touched on, the level of detail in the snow from the top of the frame to the bottom of the frame, the detail there that's being captured, which is really hard to do. We're not seeing sky, I see in the landscape. But yeah, I am listening, and I, you know, the more I look at it, the more I want to go up. For me, it was just the crop initially that's prevented me from going that a little bit higher, but I have been listening to my judges.
All right, thanks, Tracy. Craig, bring it home.
Oh boy. Well, I'm going to actually use some words that you talked about earlier, Matt, that you said on a score of 92 that we were 8 points off of perfect. We're at 91 here. How many points are we taking off for, you know, a bit of extra space at the top? I agree, this could be a panoramic crop and be very successful, and I would be scoring this 98, 99. We've used emotional words. We've all talked about connection. We've all talked about things that we might be able to see. Joe said that the rocks look like the shape of a bird, which is the prey of this animal. We have the connection and the emotional impact from that eye contact, like this fox has realized, despite its best effort at changing color in the winter to mask itself in the snow, that it's been caught out by this photographer and gone, oh shit, now they've seen me. So I think there is emotion in here. I think that control in those highlights is absolute mastery of the craft. And this for me is a gold with distinction. And I really hope you guys can find it in your hearts to give it the same kind of scoring range.
Excellent. Thank you, Craig. Craig, you're going to hold your score at 96, and everyone else, you're invited to rescore now, please. And we have a 95, a gold with distinction. Excellent, excellent conversation, judges, and massive congratulations to the entrant. That's a really, really good outcome. So good discussion, everyone. All right, Joe, you're going to have a little break. And Francis Suter, we're going to bring you back onto the panel for our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this image is On the Brink, and there is no context statement.
Craig, do you want to get your scoring? We have fantastic. We have a 77, highly commended, with really, really even scoring all across the panel. Francis, can I get you to comment on this image, please?
Yes, look, it's a gorgeous portrait of this little animal here in the rocks. It shows its environment. I like the sort of triangle with the tail going to the right, well captured, possibly a little bit soft on the animal itself. So probably if it would be a bit sharper, that would be bringing it to the next level. Also, the rock is in the background, seems to be very much in the same focus and the same depth of field range. So bringing that a little bit out of focus probably would have helped to let that subject stand out a little bit more in the foreground.
All right, thanks, Francis. Matt, you can step off the panel for a little bit, and Jess, we're going to bring you back in for our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this image is Firm Grip, and there is no context statement.
Right, we have a score of 84, a silver award. So congratulations to the entrant. And apologize for my dog barking in the background. I might get a comment, please, from let's go to Craig for a comment.
Yeah, I like this a lot. I think it's got a lot of drama, and the title with the grip, it's all about those claws on this this lizard. I think just for improvement, there's a lot of really heavy blacks, and I think we could still retain the drama, but not have those be quite so heavy, and perhaps just a slight crop adjustment from the bottom, so we maybe lose that really bright part of the rock on the bottom right.
Brilliant, thanks, Craig. Tracy, you can have a little break, and Joe Howell, you can come back on for our next image, please, Mel.
The title of this image is Leopard Running Down to Hunt, and the context statement, leopard at the Serengeti National Park, Tanzania.
All right, we have an 81, a silver award. Congratulations to the entrant. And again, pretty even scoring across the board. Craig, love a comment from you on this one, please.
Yeah, I really like this moment. I think you've timed this so well to get those front paws up and the head not kind of intersecting into the trees, getting that clear sky space around. I think a couple of things could improve this. First of all, it looks like the sky has been brought down. The highlights have been brought down. So there's some hard fringing lines around all the edges of the trees. And I wonder if seeing actually the ground plane here might give it a little bit more context of how far down this leopard is leaping as well. So yeah, a couple of things there.
All right, brilliant. Thanks, Craig. And that is our final image. So that's the last image in the wildlife category tonight. Well done, judges. Well done, entrants. That was a massive category with some really amazing work. I get to see all the judges' faces during judging and watch the expressions on their faces, and it's pretty special watching them smile and get excited about this stuff too. So I'd like to say, again, thanks to our sponsors for your very gracious sponsorship, Nikon, EIZO, and PPBN. If you're really keen, you can join us for judging tomorrow night. If you enjoy live judging, and I enjoy live judging, tomorrow we have the classic wedding category happening at the same time as this one. I want to give a really big shout out, please, to the people who worked to bring tonight to you. So we've got Daniel, our competition director, who is also the brains behind the software and has made sure everything's been running really smoothly. We've got Nathan, our broadcast director, and I would say MVP is probably Mel Sinclair for keeping everything running, having to pronounce some very difficult names, followed only by Joe Howell for trying to work as many words for poop in as she possibly can during the judging. So well done. And I just want to say thanks to all of our judges. So Ann Papalardo, Craig Turner-Bullock, Francis Suter, Jess McGovern, Joe Howell, Matt Palmer, and Tracy Lund. Thank you guys so much for your hard work. Now, let's see. Oh, that's one more thing I've got to say, which is if you want to find out who wins, we're about to go into our closed judging to determine the Australian winner. So you can find out at our awards ceremony on Thursday, the 13th of August. So we will see you there. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Wow, photographing the way I do, but with my colors, this will change everything.
I got to see each frame, each position of its wing, and they're so beautiful that I have never seen before.
Being able to move quickly and working at my brain's pace and getting those shots in the moment. Having this camera allows you to go out and create the way you want to create.
Until you use it, you cannot even imagine what you have missed.
It's something I've never seen before in my entire life. It's something totally different.
Nikon Z6 III. Outperform.
Introducing ISO Color Edge. Precision is essential for any professional working with images. Whether you're an artist, a retoucher, or a visual effects specialist, you need to know that what you see at the start of a project is precisely what you'll get at the end. Color Edge monitors give consistent, reliable accuracy that guarantee no surprises within your color workflow. So what you see in real life is what you see on screen, and what you see on screen is what you see in real life. That's precisely why professionals all over the world trust ISO Color Edge for their image creation. ISO Color Edge. Discover living, breathing color.
I'm Mark Rizzetto from the Professional Photography Business Network.
A vibrant community from all around the world who's here to supercharge your business growth.
This is not an expensive one-size-fits-all course.
The PPBN is a network,
An online educational platform with training and resources to suit everyone.
from those just starting out to the seasoned pros.
You can tailor your journey to suit your individual business needs and challenges, all at your own pace.
And there's new content added every week. But success is only part of the experience.
To us, community is super important as we all know business can be lonely.
So join us today. PPBN is your unfair advantage. Let's do this.